I'm back. It's been a while. I'm going to do something a bit different today. I am going to be doing a reading from another author's book. The author is Teresa Kuhl. I've already gotten her permission. Her and I co-author the Time of Awakening series. Eventually, I will get to those because they do tie in a rather interesting way with book 5 in the Blood Hunt series, which is The Ripple in Time, which is book 5. I'll get to that shortly. But for right now, I'm going to read from her Another Day, Another Credit, Kikimo the Wraith. Now, this is set in the 22nd century on an alternate timeline. And it is in northeast Canada, in an area of what's left of it after an apocalyptic event that happened on the East Coast. And it is about a young lady who is making a life the best way she can. I'm going to see how many chapters I can get through. It's a small book, but still, it's very good. And I'll have the link up top or the bottom for you so you can go see the rest of her books. Chapter 1. Just another day. Just another job as far as Kikimo, aka Wraith, was concerned. Confuse the Portal security system's electronic brain cells, wander in, get the chips, and saunter out. She never hurried these jobs. That would draw way too much attention. She especially never hurried to her getaway vehicle, which was a skimmer as black as night and with a sheen that could make a mirror envious, if mirrors were prone to such things. Sometimes she had to eliminate human guards too. That she occasionally regretted, but was never enough to stop her. She herself was mostly black and white, long black straight hair and fair, almost white skin. But her eyes were an almost neon green, and she sported a tiger tattoo leaping through flames on her right arm. Kikimo was no one to be trifled with, and her acquaintances knew it. She had almost no friends, not since her mentor died during a bare moment of carelessness. She had very few before then. She only had a bitter history. Her mother had sold her to pay for a drug habit and had died soon afterward. Shortly after that, the man who would become her mentor bought her contract and saw to her education. Then he made her a partner in what he referred to as his problem-solving business. Usually that only meant retrieving items, one way or another. She discovered that she had 2 marvelous talents, one for electronics and the other for fancy mechanics such as the skimmer required. Thus the skimmer seldom saw the inside of any garage other than her own. No time to reminisce, Wraith babe, she reminded herself sternly as she quickly scanned a directory. She pointedly kept her lips pressed shut. Otherwise, she might have let out a soft curse that would betray her to watchers. The chips she wanted were in a tube, in a vault, near the top of the building, and the only readily available access was via an elevator that could be accessed by an employee card, similar to the old bank cards of the late 20th and early 21st centuries. Ah, such innocent times. But this was the 22nd century now. Wraith was in a bit of luck. She had borrowed a uniform and card from a guard. Unfortunately, the guard did not want to cooperate. He was now a permanent part of the recycling system. These days, few people could afford to bury their dead, even if they had a place for such. A few minutes of imitating the pace that the guard might have used brought her to the elevator. A steel rail had been provided around the edge. For a very good reason, Kikimo discovered, as the elevator obligingly shot her to the top floor, unbalancing her in the process. A few minutes later, she found the vault. Kikima breathed a silent prayer to the God of all good problem solvers and swiped her card again, hoping that she didn't need any special clearance beyond what she had. The tube was all alone in its vault, glimmering as precious as gold or even platinum. She snagged it and tucked it beside her nightstick, where the hard little shape was least likely to even be seen, let alone noticed. Then she elbowed the vault shut and turned to saunter back to the elevator. That was when the most dreaded of sounds started. The howling of a siren, spreading the alarm that something wasn't where it belonged. Kikimo swore and dove for the elevator, only barely being missed by the shield-rated blast door that came slamming down around the vault. To make matters worse, her elevator was already gone, having been called to the ground floor by the alarm. Kikimo jimmied open a control panel and scanned the wires. Surely some of these would get a ride back. A disturbing sound revealed the presence of another elevator that probably would be carrying yet more guards coming after her. She chose the most likely pair of wires and jiggled them. The elevator doors opened, but there was no cab, just a pair of cables leading down. Nothing for it. She dove and caught the cables to begin her long slide down. Just in time. Her special doors shut, just as a hiss told her that doors elsewhere were opening. A few hours later, she shed the borrowed card and uniform in another recycler. It was time to see her employer of the moment. She was relaxing on the way when her telecom buzzed. She hit the switch. Yeah? A disembodied voice answered. You have what I asked for? Yeah, bye. The Wraith don't got the goods. The Wraith don't get paid. Course I got the goods. You got the money, bye? The voice laughed. I have it. Congratulations. I didn't think anyone could break into cybernetics, let alone in and out again. Piece of cake, Wraith said with a smirk. Wraith out. She cut the connection. It was a good day. Later, the black and white Wraith was examining a huge posh office from the deep plush carpet to the crystal chandelier that graced the ceiling. The imposing desk by the window was real wood, not the plastic synth stuff that appeared more often these days. No doubt about it, this guy was rich and could well afford Kikimo's fees. She sauntered up to the carpet to the desk and the figure seated at it. I'm the Wraith, she said. No, announced. The figure lifted its head to reveal a ruggedly handsome, arrogant face. A face that was disturbingly familiar, though the Wraith at the moment didn't have time to contemplate just where she'd seen the features before. Well done, Miss Wraith, he said, as he pushed a pile of credits across the desk. As we agreed, 10,000 credits, untraceable, small units. Kikimo eyed the pile, then nodded with satisfaction and produced the tube. Pleasure doing business with you, bye, she said as she collected the coinage. Let me know if you need to recover any more mislaced property. She flashed a devil-may-care grin at him. The Wraith didn't quite know what to make of the smile the man flashed back at her. Enigmatic, and maybe approving. I'll do that, the man promised. Help yourself to a drink on the way out. Kikimo gave another one of her grins, then sauntered out. She did pause at the silver tray by the office door. The brandy was tempting, but in her business, paranoia was healthy, and it reared its head. She left the drinks untouched and slid on to her skimmer. She could afford a meal today, a good one. Back in the office, the man nodded with approval at what he saw on the monitor. This Wraith had survival potential, something he wanted very much for a project he had in mind. He leaned back in his chair and didn't bother switching to an outside camera. He was fairly sure the Wraith would be out of sight soon anyway. And I think I'll stop with chapter 1, said, another day, another credit. Go get it. You'll love it. And there's a sequel to this one too.